Okay, hello everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm the chief of staff at Carbyne, and I'm going to be presenting the company that I work for, as well as in the grander theme of the future of mission critical communications. So what do we do? So let me begin by our elevator pitch. We always say that communications have changed a lot. I mean, even right now it's part of this global digital week conference, presenting in the metaverse. There's also simpler things than that, right, with Google Meets and Zoom. And basically, the way we communicate today with anything, whether it's ordering food with an application like Seamless or ordering a car with Uber, that's all changed. But the most important communication platforms, okay, so those are specifically, that says here, the ones that save lives, those haven't changed much in decades, right? So what does this mean? Today, if you've ever had the unfortunate situation of calling 911, which the average American calls once a year, in Mexico it's more. It's pretty much the same process as it was 30 years ago, right? You call, someone takes your information, where are you, what is your emergency, what's a good number to call you back at, you give all those details gets transferred onto someone else who's responsible for the ambulances, the firefighters, the police vehicles, and then a vehicle is dispatched to your location without too much information. Okay, so it's a bit like a broken telephone. So what are the challenges facing emergency responders and communications today? So we know that in this industry, there's overall short staffing and churn. Okay, so not super surprising, but 911 centers in the US or C5s in Mexico, any global emergency providers worldwide are having trouble hiring. Okay, in general, I would say that as a whole, the government industry and specifically emergency services are not using the best technology, such as caller location, video, silent chat available to the private sector. Response efficacy. Okay, so what we mean by this is that today, if you call 911, someone will arrive to your home with or to wherever the emergency is, with limited information and sometimes not equipped with the right tools or team because of the fact that they didn't know what's going on ahead of time. Overall, we see this as a growing need. Okay, so there are rising citizen expectations as a result of just rising violence rates and crime rates all over the world. This problem was exacerbated a lot with COVID, but yeah, we see overall that there's rising crimes, and that translates into more calls for emergency services. And finally, there's the issue of the security risks. Okay, so the fact that today emergency services work on they basically work on legacy platforms, and these legacy platforms are more prone to candy bar attacks and general like issues with ransomware, etc. Okay, so wait, sorry, my computer froze. Okay, so that's the problem we came to solve. So what did we come to do as a company? We're here to build leading emergency collaboration software that in turn will save lives, okay, and already saves lives today. And we do that basically by looking at two things. One, we want to minimize the response time. So that means that when you as a citizen call for help, someone responds as quickly as possible, and maximizing efficiency. So maximizing efficiency translates into increased situational awareness. And what this means is that someone shows up to your emergency with as much relevant information as possible. Okay, so now I want to show you a quick video that'll show how we helped prevent kidnapping 1 month ago. Sorry, not 1 month ago, but in July.
We received an emergency dispatch call here from a frantic mother.
They're gone. And so I start calling her. She finally answers the phone. She says she doesn't know where she is.
Her daughter was missing, and she had snuck out of the house.
She had put pillows underneath her blankets, looking like she was laying in there. And I went in there to wake her up. I just had a funny feeling.
Riley, do you know where you are?
No.
Who are you with?
No.
Are you on foot?
No. I just want to go home.
Okay. Who's driving?
I don't know.
Our officers were notified of the missing child and immediately put Carbyne into use.
Does your phone accept text messages?
Yes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to send a link to your text messages, okay? And I need you to click on that link because that will show me where you are.
When we have the Carbyne, we can use it to silently text them.
We're coming into a generation now where everything is looking at a phone.
The real-time location is a paramount piece of the Carbyne.
They don't think that she was really aware that it was tracking her location every 5 seconds.
Do you know where you're going?
Yeah. I don't know where I'm at, but I know I'm coming home.
Okay. Are they taking you home?
Yeah.
And she kept telling me that, I think we're almost home. I think we're going home. And the location on Carbyne, they were not anywhere close to home. So it was nerve-wracking.
And so with us having that extra piece in place with the Carbyne, we were able to close that gap.
It provided everything that she couldn't.
Okay. I have your location right now, okay? Riley, I'm telling my officers where you are, okay? We're trying to get someone over there to find you, okay?
Okay.
It was very overwhelming when my deputies were able to pull over the vehicle.
Oh my God, they got her. Thank God. Oh my God, thank God.
Yes, ma'am, that's Sergeant Klein. He's out with her now. They'll be coming over. They'll be bringing her back home, okay?
Thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
What went through my head when our sergeant went out with the girls was just a big yes.
The suspect in this case fled the scene. They could have been a victim of human trafficking. A number of things could have happened that night, but they didn't.
Technology in of itself that's available to first responder now it's phenomenal in a timely manner.
I think my favorite part is that it's ease of use. It doesn't take anything special. Nobody has to download a special app to use it.
Oh my God.
It's going to be okay. Just take a deep breath.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So that was, you saw our technology in use. That's one of our two main solutions called Carbyne Universe, and that I'll get to more in a moment. Now just a little bit about the company and who we are now that you saw the video. So we're 180 employees. We have offices in New York, headquarters, Tel Aviv R&D Center, and we have another office in Mexico City. We handle 16 million calls today worldwide, serving more than 100 customers, okay, including 26 out of the 32 states in Mexico today, I believe. We do 200 million data sessions a year. So a data session would be sharing video or location from a device onto 911 platform, and that number is growing rapidly. In terms of funding, we did a last round in August where we closed Series C. We raised $56 million, and we have a few, leading VCs behind us, as well as a company called Global Medical Response that is the largest emergency management services provider, so ambulance and ambulatory services provider, both in the US and globally. So what do? We sell SaaS, so software as a service platforms. These are solutions that are installed only at the 911 level, and that's one of the things that really differentiates us from competitors, and you saw it in the video as well. What this means is that, again, at the 911 level, so at the call center, they install our solutions, but you as a citizen, if you call 911, if you dial for help, you don't have to download anything, and this all happens in a background, okay? And I'll show in a second. I'll show in a second a video of how the solution actually works. But essentially, it's you call 911. 911 gets your location. They send you back a link that you receive via SMS or WhatsApp. You click on the link. It activates video, silent chat, and other features. Now, our whole platform has two components. So what I've been talking about now, what you saw in the video, that's everything that's happening during an emergency. But there's a second component that's also just the analytics platform, okay, that sits behind it. So that's kind of, you can see like in the top left screenshot here. So those are heat maps, right? So we're able to show today where are the highest call volumes by hour, for example. So that helps a lot. If let's say you are the police or medical, and you want to understand where to position your ambulances, that's already something that we can give you. So like patterns on where it makes sense to have your your physical assets based on the projected number of emergencies. And now we're working a lot on NLP, okay, capabilities. So for example, like, we are already transcribing all our calls on Apex. Okay, so what this means is that, a call is you have a call, both the call taker and the caller sides are transcribed. And now basically we're working on, understanding automatically what the calls are about. Okay, so to have them basically categorized. Sorry, is this a 911 call, a medical call, a fire call? And this is all basically to help mission critical operations work more efficiently with less resources, as they are constrained, and short staffing is the number one issue they're facing in the US. Okay, so we have two platforms, okay, two main platforms that I want to talk about today. One is Universe and one is Apex. Okay, the main difference between them is basically Apex is your full call handling platform. Okay, so if you have an emergency contact center, you want to replace everything, move to the cloud. Okay, so typically, like, literally replace physical servers and move completely to the cloud. You can do that with Carbyne Apex, and with Carbyne Universe. Carbyne Universe is an over-the-top solution. Okay, so what this means is that it's like a light solution. It shows up as a bubble on your screen. It doesn't replace anything that you have today as a contact center operation, but it's a layer on top that we can install remotely in 2 hours, and you get location, video, chat, questionnaires, ability to transition voice calls to VoIP calls, all with the Universe directly. Okay, now I want to show you a 5-minute video on the Universe installation that we did in New Orleans, that'll give you a better idea of how the impact that our systems are making and how they look when they work live.
So today we officially code over to the Carbyne Apex cloud-based call handling solution. And what that does, it creates an environment where we can bring next generation 911 technology to the 911 center. Today's a big day for OPCD, for the city of New Orleans, and for our technology partners that work hand in hand with us each and every day to deliver those 911 calls.
Watching Terry Carr, who was picked to take the first call, I wanted to write down the date and time and have a picture of it. But I think in a few years, people are going to look back at that call coming in the same way we looked at the first 911 call that was ever made.
It's a sense of pride, like today we'll be able to say we did that.
I think what we built is a masterpiece.
Just when you think you've seen it all, of course you've never seen it all.
The biggest thing for me with Apex is you can take Apex and take calls anywhere in the world. So if we have to evacuate, we can grab a laptop, we can go anywhere we want, and we can still receive 911 phone calls.
Katrina. System went down fairly early, and it was days with no 911 calls. I just can't imagine the missed emergencies that probably occurred and the help that didn't get gotten because of that.
If our network was diversified as it is today, I do not believe I would have ever lost 911 service.
This is really a huge milestone because it's the first time legacy call taking infrastructure being moved away from on-premises and basically replaced totally from end to end with cloud-based solution.
Big events, Super Bowls and all that sort of stuff, where a PSAP may need to grow from like a standard 15-seat PSAP to 40-seat PSAP for big events. Our platform allows us to scale very quickly for these types of events.
Security and privacy aspects. Across the states in the last 2 years, more than 200 agencies been hit by ransomware attacks because of their legacy infrastructure. With cloud, this is changed. Why is this changing? Because we changed the whole approach. It's a zero trust architecture. And what does it mean? It means basically every connection you make, every access to the data you make has to be secured, has to be authenticated, has to be authorized.
This technology already exists in the palm of their hands. The expectation is that their government, their public safety agencies also use the technology to help them when they're in their time of need.
Since I've been doing this for 23 years, I have seen changes, but we had a separate computer that you had to log in, but now that we have the Apex, it's right there on the computer, so it's always in action.
They're receiving this link as they're waiting for the call taker to come on the call, and they are already starting to send videos.
We have real-time transcription. So as the callers are speaking and the call taker is trying to multitask, enter information to the system, we often miss critical things. We can simply use technology to help us fill in those gaps we may have missed.
Translation, right? Sometimes people calling in not speaking natively English, it could be a Spanish speaker, for example. we'll be able, with the help of the cloud and our NLP technology, to be able to transcribe those calls in real time.
In the legacy world, always having to buy and maintain hardware and software, here they are buying a service.
OPCD is a leader in the industry. We are risk takers, and we understand that with that great risk, sometimes comes a lot of responsibility.
I looked at my call takers this morning, and they were like kids in a candy store.
So what do we do? Basically, we simplify the infrastructure by a lot. Okay, so this, not getting into the details, but a typical contact center can take our technology, they can throw out the servers that they had before, they can connect directly to the cloud with us. In terms of customers today, so you saw New Orleans, that was the video. We have Miami today already using our Universe system. We just announced Atlanta a month ago, so that's in the US. In Mexico, CDMX, and is a big customer of ours. As mentioned before, Global Medical Response are both an investor and a customer of ours, and we're also being used in transportation use cases. So, for example, in Georgia, the Department of Transportation is using us to, locate motorists that got onto, that are stranded on the road or got on accidents, and getting location for them is very important because they get automatic location in places where you may not have a good physical address to share with a call taker. Another thing that's really cool, and this is like the pro bono work that we're quite proud of. So because our Universe capability, unlike other solutions in our space, can be deployed completely remotely and quickly, we actually deployed both in Ukraine and through United Hatzalah, which is an organization that we work with in Turkey. Okay, and this has helped in both in both the beginning of the war in Ukraine and also in Turkey more recently. And I'll give you an example. For example, like you are a rescue worker, okay, that's looking for, maybe people trapped under the rubble, no physical addresses. Today in Turkey, what they're doing is that these rescuers are able to call a contact center that's using our technology. They immediately receive their location, and they can share video from the scene with a call center. And the call center, through another solution that we have called Responder Connect, can share with all the teams in the area the exact location of the rescuer, so they can navigate as quickly to them as possible using Google Maps, as well as video. So already before they arrive on the scene, they know what's going on. So I'll just a few words. I mean, we have, and I started with this, but we have an NPS score, so that's a Net Promoter Score of 94, whereas the Net Promoter Score in our industry is 40. I think what people like about the solution, and call taker specifically, is that it's really fast. The UI is much nicer because it's just a solution that was developed 30 years later. And today, if you ever had the chance to go to a 911 call center, they sit in front of like 8 screens, okay, which have like one for location, another one for writing down records, etc. We consolidate everything into one screen. And there's also like just the benefits of not technology related, but being a newcomer, a relatively smaller company in the industry, and we give more attention to their customers, and we have and our customer success team is great. And then this is just like three last kind of testimonials. So the left hand side is from Kristen Nielsen. She's one of 2 former Homeland Security secretaries on our advisory board at the moment. Tyrell Morris, you saw him on the video. He's the director of OPCD. That's the New Orleans 911 communication centers. And finally, there's a Mark from Get here. I left this because I also wanted to close out by saying that we're also doing B2B applications. So I'll give you an example. Like, think we can build an emergency button for a ride-sharing app. Okay, so for example, if you as a citizen or as a driver, you click on the button, it dials 911, but unlike a regular 911 call, the call taker will immediately receive the name of the driver, where you were picked up from, where you were going to, the license plates, the make of the car and the color. So all that helps speed up the emergency response a lot. And that's the type of services that we're already today providing multiple businesses, more so in Mexico, by the way, than anywhere else. And that's it.